Just an outright museum piece and a card which, for a lot of us coming of age, understanding trading cards, watching the market mature, this wasn't even a card people really knew existed. It was a card which, certainly depicts one of the most important moments in the history of America's pastime, but also very not mainstream. 19 teens from a trading card perspective were a bleak era. There were not a lot of mainstream productions. The idea that a true rookie card even exists from that era are few and far between. And really, it wouldn't be until the 1930s that we would see more aggressive mainstream productions of trading cards. They seem to have had their heyday at the turn of the century up through the T206 and Candy issues. And then they kind of hit a quiet era for about 20 years. In 1916, what was the M101 production, it was a base design which was sold to many different manufacturers. Sporting News is the one that's most recognized. But the M101-4 and M101-5 productions were fairly large sets, a couple hundred cards apiece, issued the same year in 1916, and they depicted just some of the most important figures of the day. But notably, Babe Ruth, the immortal, entered that game at that time in that year, and we're just lucky. We're just fortunate. These things, just come about. How the Mickey Mantle 52 Topps would be, the start of the high number series and, be so noteworthy. How his, Mantle and Maze's rookie cards are both these horizontal productions from 51 Bowman, both in the high number series. And so how the universe conspires to make these cards the way they do as they come about, it's just something of a lore that really feeds the nostalgia around not only these cards as collectibles, but also as what they represent today as investment pieces. So this card in its manufacture was just a very special offering, and we're so lucky that it exists because, again, true rookie cards from this era are just extremely rare because productions were very, very minimal. This offered example is one of the finest copies in the world. It has attributes which are far superior to what we typically see even for the grade assigned. Most notably, the cardstock and the surfaces are immaculate. It's probably the cleanest Ruth rookie that we've ever handled or seen in person. It has call it a 65-35 centering shift, very typical for the issue. But short of that, the attributes are conservatively of an 8 quality or better even. Notably, the print quality is amazing. Oftentimes this issue has print streaks and runner marks and other types of flaws. This was a card which had a lot of production issues. Centering, yes, but then also the print so often would plague this card and prevent many of the copies produced by the manufacturer from grading high. What's transpired since is a virtually pack fresh example that's really not seen hardly any circulation whatsoever. The surfaces are very evenly toned. There's no major creasing or foxing, I should say, or oxidation to the surfaces. The overall look and feel is that of a card which is as uncirculated as you're ever going to see, really, for a 100-year-old trading card of this kind of card stock. Zooming in here, we'll show the high res on the corners. You see how sharp this card is. That's probably the weakest of the 4 corners. You can see how well formed it is. The edges are very, very nice. There's no major chipping or flaws to speak of. I would say the cardstock, in our opinion, is conservatively of an 8 quality, and some people might even consider it verging on mint condition for a 100-year-old card. Just an amazing offering overall. So again, what this card represents from a production investment perspective, the scarcity is just amazing. There's only a dozen or so high-grade copies for the whole world to share, and that's including examples which may be graded lower than the offered near mint copy. But even within the near mint designation, I would put this one up against any other copy from a cardstock perspective. This is, again, maybe the sharpest copy that exists in the world. Not an easy thing to replace in any condition. The prices are receiving pretty meteoric rise just because the supply and demand is so out of whack. And this is the Babe Ruth rookie card. I mean, this is the iconic investment piece from the pre-war era. Some may consider this to be the single most important trading card in the world.